And let's move on to another big story coming in. It seems the pilot's body is now seeking an audit of the Boeing Dreamliner. The pilot's body is saying that there should be a full check of the electricals of the Dreamliner, and they have made this demand to the Dgca to thoroughly check electrical system of all Boeing 787 planes. It seems the Federation of India Pilots had thought that there was a necessity to check what went wrong with an Air India scare that happened recently when the emergency engine kicked in during the landing. And once again, that is the question that the Pilots Association is asking. Why shouldn't there be an audit? And they're seeking that audit. Joining us now is India Today's Amit Bharadwaj. Amit, tell us, what is the demand of the pilot's body?
Anjali, putting things into context, so this was AI 117 Amritsar Birmingham flight, in which while this craft was approaching for its landing, the RAT, which is Ram Air Turbine, which is an emergency system to provide sufficient hydraulic or electrical energy or power to the craft, was deployed. So RAT is usually deployed in case of emergency when there is not sufficient power that's being generated within the craft. You have RAT deployment happening immediately, automatically, and it's an emergency measure that the craft takes in. It automatically gets deployed. So in this particular case, what happened with AI 117, that RAT was deployed while it was approaching for landing. However, the landing was safe. And Air India maintained that the electrical and hydraulic components of the craft were found to be working normal when the inspection was conducted. However, that craft has been, grounded in Birmingham at this point in time. Now, that begs the question as to why that RAT was deployed. Why this emergency measure was taken by the craft if everything was working normal as far as the electrical and hydraulic components are concerned. And that is why you have the Federation of Indian Pilots writing to the Dgca asking that the MOCA, which is the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and the Dgca to conduct a thorough checking of the electrical components of Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Now, why that is being demanded is that AI 117, that is the Amritsar Birmingham flight, was also of the same model, which is Boeing Dreamliner, which was also the craft in case of that unfortunate disaster crash which happened in Ahmedabad. And that is why FIP is pointing out that, look, even then you had RAT deployment happening. Even then it was the same model of Boeing, which was ill-fated in June in Ahmedabad. And hence it demands, again, a rechecking, thorough checking of Air India's Boeing Dreamliner craft. And why Air India? Because it is majorly Air India which is flying the Boeing 787 model.
Right, absolutely. And the concerns of the pilots are quite valid because they are bringing in a similarity here, and they're saying that it's the same model, so an audit needs to be done.